series where we answer your most frequently asked questions. Louis, first one up. Do we have EV certification?
We do have EVMS certification. So if you're talking about training, then when you take our AzTech International University Power Fundamentals courses, you will get a certificate of completion at the end. But more importantly than that, we have really a whole methodology around how we do quizzes and learning and retention. So we start with the discovery quiz, and that allows us to get level set where everybody is, because we do encourage having different roles and different skill levels inside of each of our Power Fundamentals modules. And so once we get the discovery out of the way, we'll know where some potential gaps are that we should really focus on in our training. Then what we'll do is during the modules, every module will have questions sprinkled throughout it so that you're constantly sort of kept on your toes, and you have to maybe check in with your learning partner and try to come up with the answer. So we really encourage people to take a guess, right? Even if you don't know, take a guess at the best answer. And that's part of learning anyway. So we try to have fun with that and sprinkle those quizzes throughout.
And what's the benefit of having EV certification?
Depending on what you're looking for in your surveillance and compliance system, a lot of them will include a requirement for the control account managers, for example, or others on the project team to be EV certified. Having a formal quiz that everybody takes and to be able to sort of benchmark knowledge, and also having perhaps a requirement to have passed a certification is important for a lot of people. So, and it's also really good for your resume, frankly. So it's good for your career growth to be able to say, yes, I've taken AIU Power Fundamentals and I've mastered the basics of EV.
How does AIU approach EVM training and development?
Yeah, I think we have a unique take. One, we looked around and we've asked around with our clients what worked and what didn't work for them. A lot of folks were, especially these days with our attention spans so short, it's hard to do online training, virtual training. People multitask and so forth. So we really insisted on doing interactive, in-person, instructor-led training. And it was really important to us to do that. It is facilitated training, and you could think of these as interactive. So we introduce even things like some games and some fun elements, and also some props. This is sometimes called lo-fi in the training world. But part of our goal was to make this sticky. We thought, how do we make earned value sticky? It's not brain surgery, but yet it's got its own language. So it's really important for us to be sticky. So we make it interactive. We really encourage having, actually require having learning pairs. So we'll ask you to pair up with a learning partner. And it might sound a little hokey if you've never done that before, but it really breaks the ice with those who are maybe more introverted, not some more extroverted, and also different knowledge types. So somebody might be close to a subject matter expert possibly, and then someone's a newbie to EV. And we encourage that. We like that mix of roles and mix of different knowledge within the same course. That keeps us interesting. And then we try to make it interactive with these games and some workshop moments as well, where we will stop and take a break and do an activity. And I'm going to, dare I say, make it fun to learn EV.
So one of the questions is, we have CAMs who are learning on the job. What will their experience be post AIU fundamentals?
Our goal for everyone, but particularly for CAMs, that's a great question, because control account managers, I would say at AzTech, we consider them pivotal. They really are the important role that if every CAM does their job, their piece of the project will succeed. So we have to always be working to help the CAMs. So there are CAMs who are brand new to the industry, brand new to earned value. They probably have, tremendous technical knowledge and expertise. And what they'll get out of AIU Power Fundamentals is understanding the basic language of EV, the terminology, some of the common formulas that are used, some of the metrics that are used, maybe more importantly, the concepts behind it. So they'll go kind of soup to nuts from beginning of defining the work, scheduling the work, planning the work, establishing a baseline, all the way through to variance analysis, and then even to the final final bits of reporting and surveillance. So a CAM will get exposed to the whole life cycle of earned value, which I think is really important because sometimes they come in and they're sort of siloed, and it makes it more challenging for them to learn. I do believe very strongly in coaching and mentoring and training. So coupled with those three, you can really help CAMs to be more effective at their jobs.
Thank you, Louis. So here's a question. We have a mixed experience team. Can the more experienced team members test out of the fundamentals program?
Of course they could, but we really would recommend against that. So going back over our approach to quizzes and certification and such, we do a discovery phase where we're trying to get a level set where everybody is and find out the gaps among the team. Two, we do quizzes throughout the training, and then we do the final certification quiz. But we really encourage different levels of expertise in the room and different roles in the room. We think that's really important. It's important because you can learn from each other, and that's part of what you want to have coming out of AIU Power Fundamentals. Is there's a team building aspect to it that's not to be underestimated. And when the folks leave the room, they're going to know each other. They're going to know who knows what. They're going to know who knows more, or who knew more before they went in. And that's a really good thing to have. So you know who to connect with later when you run into problems or questions. So we really encourage, no matter what your level is, to be part of the learning experience. It's going to be better for everyone else. And then the last point I'll mention is that even if you're an expert, right? I mean, I'm an expert in EV. The hard part about EV when you're working with the team is communicating and messaging what's important. So part of what we do, I really like to think that we try to make things simple. We try to introduce concepts in a way that will be sticky for new users. And even for experienced users, they might say, oh, I'm going to use that. That's a really good way to explain that. So I think it's going to round out your knowledge no matter what level of EV you have. Yes, be patient because you know more than others in the room possibly, but you're still going to learn something new. So definitely recommend a mixed team for training.
Louis, what's the baseline module all about?
Okay, the baseline, that's kind of our monster module. It's so fundamental for earned value. So we had to break it into 3 parts. The first part is all about just defining the work scope and getting to your work breakdown structure, your organizational breakdown structure, and just to define, getting your arms around the work that you're going to accomplish for the project. The second part is all about the integrated master schedule, which is such a foundational artifact, really, to have a strong schedule that's meaningful and accurate and predictive. So all about the schedule. And then the third one is kind of wraps that up with all of that it takes to do your control account planning, developing work packages, creating planning packages, establishing manager reserve, establishing undistributed budget. So everything that it takes us to get to a baseline.
So Louis, sometimes we get asked around the pacing of Power Fundamentals, because as we know, that's 10 modules, it's 3 workshops packaged together. So what is the suggested pacing?
We gave this a lot of thought, and based on the knowledge out there on learning, especially adult learning, it's important to space out the learning so that you get basically your brain has time to kind of digest it all. So what we very intentionally did is we have these modules and workshops spaced out. You can do them over the course of 2 different weeks. We recommend having some space between those weeks, like anywhere from 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And that's actually good, okay, because it gives you a chance to sort of digest the things from the first week and then reinforce them in that second week. Also, these are not full days blocked out. We totally get that people are busy. They've got their inbox to manage every day. They've got tasks to finish in the morning, maybe in the afternoon. So we intentionally made it sort of a 9 to 4 type of a time frame, so that folks still have time to get some work done in between. Where there's also a lunch break. So I think between all of that, it helps with the pacing and with the retention, which was really important to us.
Which is your favorite Power Fundamental to facilitate? And it could be any of the modules or any of the 3 workshops. Which and why?
Okay, well, in the Power Fundamentals, we have a number of modules. The baseline, I would say, is maybe one of the most challenging because it's got a lot to do. But around that baseline, the baseline module, we have a workshop called Planning for Non-Planners. And I would say that's my favorite. We have a couple more. We have a VAR workshop, how to write a good VAR. And then the third one is Awesome Analyst. That one I do enjoy a lot as well, because we give you some insider tips and hacks on how to be a better analyst, whether you're in the schedule world or the cost or EV world. But going back to Planning for Non-Planners, what I like about it is we actually get very interactive. We're going to pair up and team up and go onto the wall and start to create a schedule. We pick a sample schedule where we're building a Taylor Swift concert series. So it's kind of fun, and you get to build a schedule using Post-its. And during that, you're going to understand scheduling fundamentals such as logic or predecessors and successors. You'll learn about constraints. You'll learn about total float or total slack, what a critical path is, and the use of deadlines, and we'll even explore some of the different schedule metrics that are used to analyze schedule health or performance. So I really find that one a lot of fun, and I think I'm going to say it's a crowd favorite. I think people really enjoy it, and so yeah, I definitely say Planning for Non-Planners is my favorite.
Thank you, Louis. For more answers to your questions, please visit our website, goaztech.com.